Yeah, it's like there's what, 6 different managed programs we have.
Mm.
And, one of them last year, like when they started the war, I had a pretty good gold exposure, lowered some of the gold exposure and went into oil. Obviously, a war with Iran would cause oil to go up, right?
Right.
And so that's where the value add is too, is you have to constantly adjust based on current economic conditions. It can't be just a static thing. So many people hire advisors. Daniel and I have been talked about this before. And they just say, no, I'm going to hire them to beat the market, right? Mm-hmm. 90% of advisors never beat the market, especially if they're putting you in a 60-40 portfolio. How can they beat the market, right? Mm-hmm. They'd have to beat the market by 40%, right? It's not that. You hire an advisor besides the planning aspects, to protect your money too, right? So, Daniel, you have one program that'll get you very similar to 100% of the stock market with half the risk, right? And so tell them, we'll go into more in the next segment, tell them the couple different ways you do to manage that risk side but not give up the return.
Yeah, well, there's another dimension here that is important to point out, because if you have $100 to allocate inside of a portfolio, you can allocate those dollars in various forms of risk. In other words, if you put $50 of that 100 in the market, in the stock market, in the S&P 500, and you put the other $50 in cash, how much of the risk of your portfolio is in stocks?
100%.
100%, right?
Right.
A lot of people would say 50
no risk in the cash
because you only have $50 in stocks, but no. So the point is that you allocate risk in a portfolio. You don't allocate the dollars. There's another layer here to the portfolio management, and that's it. And so similarly, we can use a smaller percentage of the portfolio to get a full 100% exposure to the stock market. There are ETFs on the market that will give you multiples of exposure to the underlying index, 2 or 3 times exposure. So just in theory, let's say that if you put 1/3 of your dollars in an ETF.
So let's use the same example. I got $100, but $33 in a AAA ETF, 3 times leverage ETF.
Yep, that would give you essentially 100% exposure to the market.
Okay. Now, so the market makes 30, you get 30.
Right.
Okay.
Now those leverage ETFs have some issues, but when used in this way, those issues are minimized because if you're trying to increase your exposure to stocks, you can have this situation where the leverage ETF will basically not keep improving your return. But when you use only a portion in this way, it gives you the exposure you want. So the reason why you would do that is because now you have 2/3 of your portfolio freed up to invest in hedges and actual diversifiers to manage the risk of your stock exposure. And that way, the whole of the portfolio becomes greater than just your stock. Because for most aggressive investors, if they want the return of the market and they put 100% in stock, there's no room left over for them to hedge or diversify the portfolio.
That's a pretty significant amount of opening that you have to be able to create that value.
Yeah, it is.
Most people would think it's less.
Yeah, and it's all available with publicly listed ETFs. There's no margin, there's no borrowing, there's no capital calls, there's no risking any more than you put in.
Well, let's talk about, we got a break coming up, but let's talk about after the break what that other 67%, what it can comprise to offset the risk and still increase your return over time.
Great.